Sports card dealers struggling hard with this new buyer's market that we've been faced with over the last 12 months. Will it get any better? Well, we'll talk through this.
Let's talk about something important. Are they all here?
All but one.
Well, I'm going anyway. Let's talk about something important. Put that coffee down. Coffee's for closers only.
Hello to all my sports card collectors, investors, all of my collectibles friends. We have made it to the end of the week. Thank gosh, it is Friday. Hope you all are doing well. If you're new here, you're looking for pretty much daily sports card collectible style content.
Exactly.
This is it. You made it. You made it here. Hit the subscribe button down below. Also, don't forget to connect with me on IG at SportsCardDad, and I'm also on the Twitter, the SportsCardDad. A couple of weeks ago, I made a video and the title was something to the effect of like 75% of sports card dealers will be gone soon. And some people push back on me like, this is crazy. This is kind of a clickbait type title. And sure, it's a title to where I'm trying to get your attention, but do I think that that is some sort of a crazy number? No, I don't. But I think where some people got confused was I didn't say that 75% of dealers would be gone and then we just are left with the remainder. I think that new dealers will come in, ones that are able to really adjust to this style market. The one thing that really shook me a little bit at the National was the amount of dealers that had set up museums there. And what I mean by that is they've got cards sitting out there that they don't really have any real intentions of selling. And when you've got prime real estate at the National just because you've been a dealer for 10, 15, 20 years, I think it's a little bit silly that you're just able to kind of sign back up every year when you've got plenty of people behind you that are ready to transact and ready to actually move cards and buyers that are there. Look, there is no shortage of people at shows right now. The attendance is busy for the most part. Granted, there's probably some shows where attendance is down, but if we're talking about a lot of the major shows, the big regional shows, there are people there. Outside of shows, how many cards are just sitting on eBay, buy it now at some astronomical price where, and again, it's like, are you serious about selling the card?
We may only have, I believe that we may only have 32 of these.
Or is it just kind of like in real estate, what were the websites? Maybe it's Zillow or whatever, or Realtor.com, to where it's like the make me move price. And so it's people that are putting up like crazy ask prices, but it's like the make me move. If you give me this crazy number, then I'll move out. Great. I feel like that's kind of where we're at with cards. When I go on eBay, I run my search and I'm looking at stuff. I mean, I would say probably 75%. I know I keep using the 75% number. 75% of the stuff that I'm looking at is an overpriced bin, and maybe there's an or best offer. A lot of times there's not, though. That really kind of surprises me a lot, to where you have just a buy it now without any sort of best offer option. I mean, you can't come off of it $20 or $50 or $100, or is it a listing that's just been sitting there forever? You forgot about it. You just keep on relisting it because it's like the free relist on eBay. You know, it ends, you relist it. It takes 2 seconds to relist it, and you don't really look at it and think about kind of where current pricing is for a lot of these cards. Maybe that's the case. Maybe that's what it is. But as more and more new hobbyists, new collectors, new investors, speculators come into this market, the one thing that they're going to notice is that there are a lot of rare cards with a story. And I know that that's going to sound kind of strange. A lot of rare cards with a story. There's a lot of numbered cards. Frankly, if you're collecting, and for me personally, this kind of fits what me is I'm collecting across a variety of different things. Just over the last few weeks, I bought a 2002 Fleer game used bat auto for Barry Bonds. That's a baseball card. I've bought Marvel cards. I've bought Stranger Things cards, and I've bought football cards. So I'm looking across a ton of different verticals at different types of cards with different levels of scarcity, rarity, etc. And so why is that important? Well, the reason why that is that really if you are a seller in this buyer's market, you have no leverage.
Fuck! You're kidding!
Judge.
The only way you have leverage in this market that I can see anyway is if you have high grade vintage cards, Or if you have really rare kind of one-of-one type stuff, and I'm not talking about the new stuff. I'm not talking about Trevor Lawrence that's got 1,000 different one-of-one cards. I'm talking about maybe 2017 one-of-one or something, a modern card, but not necessarily an ultra-modern card that has a lot of these different types, like the logo shields. There's like all these different logo cards. I mean, there's so many different special cards. It's on a next level with all the new product. But my point is that there's so many different options for a particular athlete. Even if it's a really hot athlete, even if it's a Jalen Hurts who's just on an absolute tear. Are there a lot of Jalen Hurts cards? Are there a lot of options? Yeah, there's a ton of options. So as a seller, you don't really have a whole lot of leverage. The buyer has a lot of supply to choose from. And maybe it's not all, graded supply. Maybe there's nuance to that, of course. Maybe they want national treasures and you happen to have national treasures. But the point is that there's a lot of cards being made of all of these athletes to where even if you've got a red hot athlete, Jalen Hurts wins a Super Bowl and then he wins it next year and everyone's looking for Jalen Hurts cards. There's a lot to choose from. It's really no different when you look at Patrick Mahomes, and that's going back to 17, even 2017, where print runs nowhere near what they are in 2020, 2021. But there's a lot of Mahomes options. I've been listening to dealers that are also content creators and just kind of the stuff, kind of the lingo that they're using. And I totally understand where they're coming from when they say things like, I want to have inventory that a collector wants to buy, essentially a forever home for that particular card. So not necessarily something that, maybe is flipped, but something that, is fairly unique that a collector of that particular player or whatever character would enjoy. And so they would pay a premium for that thing. Depending on whatever IP that is, whether we're talking about a character or if we're talking about an athlete, I mean, if it's a collector of a certain athlete, there is just so much supply to choose from. You as a seller, you have no leverage whatsoever. You have none. So again, unless we're looking at niche vintage type stuff that you don't really see very much, once you get into modern cards, a lot of options out there for buyers, collectors of certain types of players. And if you're a seller that's not in the game to really sell, and I'm not even talking about comps, what are the recent sales? You might have to go under those recent sales to really make deals happen. How many cards are sitting on eBay right now that are priced right at that last sale and they're not selling? There's not a lot of volume in this thing. So just because someone 2 weeks ago paid, a certain price for that particular card, you might think like, okay, well, that's a comp. That's the recent sale that I can price off of. That might have been one person that was willing to pay that, and now there's not another one. And so if you're going to sell yours, you're going to have to go under the price. Now, if you get lucky and maybe there's a few people looking for that card and it goes above the last sale. But I think that's kind of the main point. It's got to be a struggle for dealers that really do a lot of volume outside of dollar bin type stuff. If you're operating on the lower end and dollar bin and you're churning, that's one thing. But I'm talking about as you get into kind of a little bit more expensive cards in that middle tier, anywhere, from $100 to $1,000, that bucket right there, there is a billion cards in that bucket, graded cards. And so how are you differentiating yourself from all the other dealers? And I made a video, again, going back to the video, I'll see if I can put the thumbnail up, going back a couple weeks ago. But a lot of dealers, they don't look you in the face. They're too busy staring at their cell phone at the show. They are not building relationships. They're not building any sort of repeat buyers in business. And these are the folks that won't be around, or again, they'll just be setting up as museums at these card shows until the card shows actually say like, hey, you don't transact here. We need to let people in that do actually transact. So let me know in the comments, guys, are you a dealer that's serious about transacting? If you're a dealer watching this, or have you made adjustments to the way that you do things? Or are you setting up card museums at shows? Stay healthy, stay awesome, and I will talk to you again later.